When you think about the top scorers of the 2000s and 2010s, Kevin Martin is most likely nowhere on your list. But what if I told you that this was one of the most consistent 20-point scorers and a top shooter of the era, and you didn't even know about him? Welcome to NBA Files. Kevin Martin was born and raised in Zanesville, Ohio, a town of about 25,000 people. As many kids did, Kevin grew up marveling at the greatness of Michael Jordan and was driven to basketball as a result. As a kid, Kevin wanted nothing more than playing at that same stage as his idol, and entering high school, this could not have seemed more far-fetched. As a freshman, Martin weighed less than 100 pounds. He had incredible feel and talent for the game, but to get to the top, it takes much more than that. Throughout high school, Kevin adapted to the game and found his own unique and crafty way to score and control the game through getting to his spots and knocking down jump shots, as well as finding creative ways to get to the charity stripe. Kmart would get his break before senior year and shot up to a viable 6'4", weighing in at 150 pounds. With the skill set that he had already developed, Kevin dominated despite his slim stature. He finished as a top finalist in the Mr. Basketball Ohio Award behind sophomore winner LeBron James. Despite Kevin's incredible finish to his high school career, college recruiters still had major doubt in his ability at the next level. This was mainly due to two factors: his shooting form and his slim frame. His only scholarship offers came from some of the tiniest Division I programs, like Ohio University, the University at Buffalo, and Western Carolina University. Kmart chose to head to Colby, North Carolina, a city with just over 3,000 people, and Kevin quickly became the life of the city. He finished his freshman year as a top guard in the country, totaling over 22 a game. Kevin was a consistent scoring threat that this program really never had. With teams shifting their focus solely onto him every game, Martin had to fine-tune parts of his games that were less polished, such as his shooting off the bounce and his ball handling ability. Kevin's run came to a conclusion after his junior year, where he put up just short of 25 a game and showed his ridiculous talent as a shooter and a scorer. After this impressive showing, he thought that this was the time to declare for the draft while his value was very high. Despite proving his doubts wrong at the college level, the media projected Martin to be taken no earlier than the second round, with some longtime scouts doubting him to be selected at all. The Kings took a gamble in the 2004 draft and actually selected Martin 26th overall in the first round, a pick that was looked at as ridiculous at the time, and flipped into being a great pick just a few years after. But this was not overnight. Kevin Martin was still just a late first rounder who was playing behind a number of veteran guards on the tail end of their run as a top team in the West. With little chance to show what he really had, and the transition from a small school to NBA ball, Kevin's rookie year was unpromising, averaging just 2.9 a game. Kmart stuck with the program for a bit before the doors started to open up. Martin had shown a lot of improvement in his sophomore season, averaging 10.8 a game, and slid into the starting role after the injury of Bonzi Wells for about half of the season. With some of their pieces intact from their run in the early 2000s, and the new young guns that they had picked up, they matched up with the Spurs in the first round. The Spurs were in the heart of their prime, finishing at the 1 seed, but the Kings really gave them a run for their money. Spurs went up 2-0 in the series before a tight finish in Game 3.
Ahead to Martin, to the rim, and the Sacramento Kings have won!
Kevin closed out Game 3 over the best 4 of all time in only his sophomore season. The Kings were truly outmatched in the series, losing in 6, but Kevin was expected to take that next step, coming in second place in a GM vote for most likely to break out in the 06-07 season. And break out he would. Kevin took over the Kings offense, totaling over 20 a game for the first time in his career. Like I said before, Kevin's skill set was quite unique. He was killing guys knocking down these long-range jump shots, shooting 40% from 3 on over 4.5 a game for the next 3 years. But Martin had a ridiculous and unique ability to draw contact, even on shots that were far from the basket. Martin's free throw attempts jumped from 3 to 7 a game in the 06-07 season. With Kevin's scoring numbers jumping every year, with him totaling just under 25 a game in the 2008-2009 season, the Kings were actually getting worse. A lot worse. The worst, in fact, with them winning only 17 games in the 08-09 season. I think this had a lot to do with Kevin not getting the recognition that he deserved throughout his run. Kmart was putting up all NBA scoring numbers and not even making an all-star team. This makes it highly likely that his numbers were quite inflated since he couldn't quite retain the same efficiency as his numbers kept climbing. The 2009-2010 season was a turning point in Martin's career. Martin was moved in a deal to the Houston Rockets that would land him in a situation where he actually had a chance to win some ball games. After the end of the T-Mac Yao Ming experiment, the Rockets were looking for a young, exciting scorer to fill the void, and Martin did a solid job at that, averaging 21 in his new role in Houston in the first year. As he gained more comfort as a leader on a competitive Houston Rockets lineup, he upped his scoring to a very solid 23 point per game average. Kmart had proved that his scoring output could lead to wins in a way as the Rockets finished above 500 for the year, and Kmart climbed the ladder as a top scorer in the league. The following year, Martin was thrown a very strange and unique monkey wrench from the NBA. A rule change directly aimed at him, called the Kevin Rule, was a ban on the rip-through move that Martin and OKC star Kevin Durant would often use and abuse to get free buckets at the charity stripe. After this rule change, Kevin's free throw attempts would nearly be cut in half from 8.4 to 4.5 a game, as well as a 6.5 point dip in his scoring average, as he would post a career low 17.1 a game as a full-time starter. His fall would only get worse as he faced a labral tear in his right shoulder, leaving him out for 42 games in the 2012 season. During this time, the Rockets decided to make a move to get them out of the middle of the pack, in a successful attempt at that. The Rockets packaged Martin in a deal to OKC in the infamous James Harden trade. Martin, now in his late 20s, found a sixth-man spot on the defending Western Conference champs, replacing the spot James Harden had left behind. Martin put up a solid 14 a game, playing a pivotal role as a third-option scorer, and an excellent floor spacer on the 60-win Thunder. But they ended up getting knocked out by the Conley and Gasol-led Grizzlies in only the second round. His time in OKC was exciting and surely fun to watch, but it was short-lived, as he decided to move on to chase money over rings as his contract expired, signing with the Minnesota Timberwolves in 2013. Another team stuck in the middle of the pack, Martin had some high moments with the Wolves, including a 20 point per game season at 31 years old, but he faced a number of injuries throughout this time, and was bought out in 2016 despite putting up 20 a game in just the year before that. Finally, the Spurs decided to give him a shot as a bench piece to help get past the Warriors in the ever-tough West. On paper, the move looked great, and Spurs fans or Warriors haters were pretty stoked on it. The team needed more of a punch offensively, so Kevin could definitely help fit that void. Sadly, this did not really fit well at all for either side. Kevin never had over 5 assists a game in his career, and thrown into a team like the Spurs made this fit just terrible. On top of the injuries and age doing a number on him, Kevin put up a very inefficient 6 a game and was not able to land a spot on another team ever again. Looking back, it's easy to see why Martin gets lost in the history books. His production never really led to wins in a major way or anything like that, but it still shocks me that a 25 point per game guy couldn't slot into a single all-star game. What I find to be most interesting about Kevin's game is that he just missed out on a league perfect for his style of play. With a sharpshooting 2 who can draw contact at ease, I mean, who knows what he could have done today. That's going to do it, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, peace out.